Hello everyone, this is Nida Maksud, your Selenium instructor, and I welcome you all to this training on behalf of TechCarb Institute of Technology. Before jumping into the other details of the training and course, I would like to give you guys a very brief introduction of myself and my experience regarding automation and software quality assurance testing. So let's talk about this thing first. So I have been into quality assurance and automation since years, and I have basically my experience in Selenium with Java, and we are mainly working on website automation and mobile automation using different automation tools, and Selenium is on the top of them. So that is basically a brief introduction of myself. Now I would like you guys to introduce to the course we are going to work on and the rest of the parts of this series. So first of all, we will be looking into some concepts of Java so that we know how to code things in Java, so that we have at least basic know-how of coding. And basically, coding is a requirement of scripting in Selenium because we would be writing test scripts using some coding language. And in this series, we will be using Java as our baseline. So that is our necessity to learn Java as well. So we'll be covering up the basic parts so that we can go through the training. And then we would be like, meanwhile, we would be doing some configurations, like we have to get our systems, machines ready to run Selenium on this. Since we have to write up Java, so we would be doing some configurations to write Java code as well. Then we will be talking about some framework and so on. That's a long story, and we will be doing those things along the way. And for now, let's jump into the details. So I will be telling you guys the basic agenda, which I have already explained like a little bit. Then why do we automate everything? What are the prerequisites of automation? Some basics of automation. Then I'll be showing you guys a demo, or you can say a running script, so that you can understand how basically automation testing goes on. Then we will be doing some configuration. We will be downloading the IDEA, the development tool, where we will be writing up our code. Then we will be doing the Java setup, and we will be writing out some Java scripts. Okay. So this is basically the key areas we are going to cover in today's class. So first of all, I wanted to clear out your mind so that you are like aware of what you are going to achieve in these 2 hours. So since now we are pretty much clear with our agenda, we are going to learn automation. We are going to lay down the foundation of our learning or journey. So let's talk about the content that is already basically covered that I have explained. We will be covering up introduction to the course that I have already given you. Then why we have to do the automation. Then again, the content we are going to cover is like we will be seeing a demo of the running project. Then we will be installing IntelliJ, that is basically a tool that we will be using to write our code in. Then we will be doing Java environment setup, then covering some basic topics of Java and so on. So first of all, before jumping into software testing, I would like to explain software development lifecycle to you guys. First of all, we have to analyze the things. There are basically 6 phases, right? So there are 6 basically stages or phases you can say in software development lifecycle. First of all, we start with analysis, we do the design, then we move for the implementation, testing, deployment, and then maintenance. This is basically the part we are going to automate in this training. But before that, this thing also needs to be cleared out here, because when you are testing, when you're working in an organization or some agile model, you must be knowing that what are the phases, which phase basically you are entering when you are in the testing and so on. So first of all, we have to do the feasibility analysis. Either this thing is possible to be developed or not. Like when we are going to develop some software, we have to be sure that, okay, like this thing is being needed, or what is either it is feasible or not. Either we have all of the resources to develop that thing or not. So basically, we do the feasibility analysis of that thing. So this is the first stage. We have to make an analysis and we have to make a decision, and we have to do the feasibility study. Okay, yeah, this thing is possible. We are going to achieve this. Okay. Next thing is basically the design. Once we are done with the feasibility study, we are sure that, okay, this thing is practically feasible and we can achieve this. We move toward the design. So we do the designing, we do the, like, let's talk about a software application. There would be some interface, something that user looks at while interacting with the application. That is basically the design. So in the second stage of SDLC, software development life cycle, we would be dealing with the UI UX design, right? And the third is implementation. This is basically the coding. Let's say we're talking about that we are going to develop a learning management system, like a learning management system for a school. So we write a code for that thing. We basically implement that thing. We develop that thing. So this is basically the development. And the fourth stage is testing, where basically we actually verify that, okay, this was the user requirement. This was supposed to be built, so it is built according to the requirements or not. So like we were expecting, let's take an example of a house. So we were expecting that a door should be there at the exit point. So while testing, we would be verifying that, okay, this door is there, right? So basically, this is basically a point, a stage, a phase of SDLC where we verify things. Okay, so we have to verify and validate that either this thing is developed as expected or not. So we have to do a comparison of expected results and actual results. Once actual and expected results are equal, we say that, okay, we have achieved our point. Then fifth stage is the deployment. Then we do the testing on the test servers, and then we deploy that thing to our what should I say, our production or pilot servers, and then we go for the maintenance. One thing is developed, thing has been tested, thing has been deployed, then we go basically for the maintenance of that thing. So this is basically SDLC, software development life cycle. This is not like something actually related to us, but somehow we are going to use this. We are running into this process, so we must have some know-how of this thing. So this was basically about SDLC. Next, talk to the next slide, and that is basically agile. That is also our necessity, because like once we are working with some organization, they must be using some sort of development model. Agile is the most famous one. Most of the organizations use this one. So I will be giving you an overview of this agile methodology as well. This is basically, you can say, agile is comprised of some sprints. Let's say we have like defined that we have made a decision that we have to cover up, or we have to like complete one project in 3 months. So we divide that those 3 months into smaller chunks. Let's say 1 week. Okay, so there would be 3, 4, 12 weeks in 3 months. So we say that, okay, by the end of first week we should have achieved this thing. So and after, by the end of the first week, we would be measuring our progress, and we would be taking decisions that, okay, we were supposed to finish that thing, either we have finished that thing or not, right? So this is how basically we measure our progress and we take decisions. So instead of looking up at the results at the third month, we keep on reviewing them every week, or like whatever the schedule of our sprint is. Let's say we decide that we would be following a 1 week sprint or 2 week sprint. Let's talk about the 2 week. So we say that we will be setting up our target that we have to achieve this specific thing in 2 weeks. And at the end of the 2 weeks, we'll be figuring out that, okay, we have achieved this or not. So this is basically the span of 2 weeks is known as sprint. Okay. So you can see that here, let me show that to you. You see that it's here sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3. So this is those 2 weeks, like 15 days. We have decided that, okay, at this point, after 15 days, we will be discussing that we have like executed this thing or not, we have achieved this thing or not. Okay, so we will be like discussing our measuring our progress at this point. So first of all, in those 2 weeks, we plan, we design, we develop, we test, we deploy, and we then review. And finally, we launch that thing to the next sprint. So this is basically, you can say, a plan execution that we have to achieve some specific progress in this area, in this time span. So basically, we have to do this in 1 or 2 weeks sprint, whatever our decision is. Again, once this sprint is over, we move on to our next goal. There was our next goal that, okay, after 2 weeks, we should be at some point and we would be developing our new feature. So in the next sprint or in the next 2 weeks, we would be following some strategy and we would be doing that thing. Like we would be planning something, designing something, developing, testing, deploying, and then reviewing. And finally, we would be launching that thing in the next 2 weeks. So this is basically, we have divided our whole task over our whole project into smaller chunks, which are known as sprints. Okay? So these are the sprints, and you guys got a better idea. Like what is agile methodology? Agile is basically comprised of sprints, and sprints basically we like conduct some meetings in our sprints, which are known as Scrum. I will be explaining that thing in the coming slides, but for now, just remember that. Let's say we are following sprint, 1 week sprint or 2 week sprint. So we are meeting with the team every day in some meeting, and we are like measuring that, okay, we were supposed to be achieving this progress at this point. Either we have achieved that thing or not. So this is basically how we go into agile methodology and we follow the sprint schedule. Once we are like clear with the concept of sprint, let's jump into the next slide. And that is basically about why we need automation. So like you are clear with software development lifecycle, you know what are the agile methodologies, what is basically a sprint. Let's talk about the main motive of today's lecture, which is why we are going to use automation. So let's talk about the benefits of automation. So first of all, we are going to reduce human effort and we are going to automate things. Okay. And how we are going to reduce human effort? Let's just say that we are developing some feature, we are developing some software, and we are like deploying our code every week. Like let's say whatever we have developed in some 4 days of the week, we are deploying that code to our servers on the 5th day, and we have to perform some testing on our servers every Friday or every week to verify that after the new deployment our existing feature is working fine or not. So like we have to verify every time we deploy something, we have to verify that, okay, our app is working fine, our functionality is not being broken, or like something like this. So, but what is actually happening over here? We are repeating the same thing again and again, right? We are doing some progress, some, you can say some, what should I say? We are performing some testing 1 week, then another week, and that process goes on. So this is basically, we are reducing the human effort. When you automate that testing, that human effort will be reduced. Are you getting my point? So basically, we are reducing the human effort by introducing automation. Then we are eliminating the human error. Let's talk about the payroll system. What is payroll system? Basically, the process or the department of every organization that is basically transferring salaries to the employees. That is basically the payroll system, right? Let's say an organization has 1,000 employees. If a person has to sit in front of the desk and has to transfer salaries to 1,000 persons in 1 day, how long it would take? Like he has to go and verify, okay, this person has this much salary, I have to transfer this much salary to this specific account. So this is a hectic task and this can cause human error, right? So this is the thing where we can automate the process and we can eliminate the human error, right? If one single person has to do everything manually, or even there are 10 persons, they are going to transfer the salaries to the 1,000 employees, there are chances of human error. So to eliminate that process, to eliminate the human error, we can go for automation. and automation is the best alternative for such, you can say, such scenarios where we want to eliminate the human error. Okay. Then there comes this, that automation speeds up the process of determining the stability of the build. What is that actually? That is about, like, let's just say developers have worked on the build, they have deployed the feature. Now QA has to sit in front of the desk and has to test out the happy parts of the application, right? So let's just say there are 400 to 500 scenarios, that test cases that have to be executed to determine the stability of the build. How long it would take for a human to execute those tests and then like determine the stability of the build. So if that thing is automated, we can speed up the process of determining the stability of the build. Are you getting my point? So this is basically how we can speed up the process. If we automate that thing, if we can, like, we get faster results, we get faster, you can say, decisions, and we are like better aware of the situation. Then again, it reduces the stress for the QA team. A person who has to execute 400 to 500 scenarios is already stressed, and then he has to be prepared to, like, prepare the reports for that testing and then, like, conclude the results for the testing. So that is a hectic task. So once we have automated everything, we are ultimately reducing the stress for the QA team. Then we are reusing the one-time effort. We have automated everything only once. We have put in efforts only once, and then we can reuse that. Just like we have automated the payroll process, right? We have worked on the automation of that thing only once, right? And we are using that thing again and again. Is that clear? Like, we can execute those scripts and they can, like, perform the task for us in minutes or seconds, instead of a person spending hours and days in front of the desk and performing, you can say, re-performing the same activity again and again. So this is how we reuse one-time effort. Then comes the faster feedback. This thing is already clear from the third point, which was speeding up the process of the determining the stability of the build. When we are fasting up everything, we are ultimately fastering the feedback. The faster the testing has been performed, the scripts has been executed, the faster response can be got from that thing. And then we are ultimately boosting up the productivity when everything is being happening on the time and we are getting quality results. Then ultimately we are boosting up the productivity, and then we are improving the bug detection when we are not, like, spending 10 days or 15 days on executing that plan manually. We are getting our testing results in some hours. So we are basically improving the bug detection. The bug that was supposed to be found at 15th day or the 20th day when we were performing the testing manually, that can be caught at the first stage or in the first or second day when the scripts are automated scripts are run. So I hope you guys have got an idea why do we need automation. Go through these points and let me grant some more of me. And this is why basically we are going to automate this. Okay, so next, there is another concept of test automation. Firstly, we have looked into SDLC, which was basically software development life cycle. And now we are talking about test automation. There is a cycle of test automation as well. So first of all, we have to do the feasibility study again. We have to do the feasibility study of automation. Like, we have to decide very carefully that what we have to automate and, like, what can be automated. Everything cannot be automated and everything doesn't need to be automated. So we have to be very careful while doing the feasibility study. Then we have to do the ROI study for test automation. This is basically ROI, return on investment. Like, if there is some repetitive effort that we have to perform again and again, there is a point of automating that thing. But if that thing has to be performed only once, then there is no point of automating that thing. So basically, we have to do a ROI study as well. Then we have to evaluate and select tools for test automation. This is again a critical point We have to be very careful and we have to select the tools according to our needs. Then we have to identify our frameworks, then proof of concept. Then we have to write up our development like automation scripts, and then we have to review those scripts. This is a cycle that keeps on going, starting from the feasibility study of automation. I have already cleared the point that we cannot automate everything. The longer processes, the one that cannot be repeated, that cannot be automated. So we have to take a decision. First of all, we should be knowing something about manual testing as well. And manual testing is basically something you can say a base of automation, because if you don't know what is basically testing, you cannot extract the scenarios to automate them. So we will be discussing manual testing a little bit as well. So this is basically an idea of test automation and selecting the tools and everything related to making a decision for testing tool selection. So we have already made a decision. We are going to use Selenium because that is in demand and that has very you can say, long stability list, and that is a good to use for web-based applications. Then this is again the same thing I have been talking about. What can be automated? So not everything can be needs to be automated. Like everything is not supposed to be automated, because the effort that is only supposed to be put in one time, we don't need to automate that. So we have to be we need to be very careful while choosing what to automate. We have to automate only the repetitive effort, right? The thing that is only supposed to be performed only once, that is not supposed to be automated, right? Then we have to automate only when there is a tendency to cause human error, just like I have given you an example of payroll system. There is a tendency to cause human errors. We need to automate that process. Then we need to automate when we have multiple data sets. When like there is only, let's say, there is a login process and we test that scenario with valid credentials, invalid credentials, and then with valid email, invalid password, like different combinations. So this is the point where we can use automation. Then we have to automate the tests that are impossible to perform manually, just like the payroll one. We have to automate the tests that require a lot of human effort and time when manual testing. So these are some criteria you can say you have to keep in mind when you try to automate anything. So we have to be very careful while we choose what to automate. So like this will be helping you in making a decision what you have to automate and what basically needs to be automated. So this is like a very careful decision. Then since we talked about some prerequisites of automation, so these are the prerequisites. So first of all, whenever you are going to learn something, I would say you need some will to learn and resolve problems. Like this is going to be a coding thing. You would be writing up scripts. You would be like performing some sort of development. So basically, you should be having a will to learn and resolve problems. If you don't have will to learn and resolve problems, you would be lagging at some point, because while development, while coding, problems would be occurring. There would be build issues, like a lot of more problems, but you should be having a will to learn, and then you will be basically able to like cope with this thing. So I would say that this is a prerequisites that of learning automation. Then you should be having command on at least one of the programming languages, and for this training, I would say you should be having command on Java. That is basically our course included in course outline, and I will be teaching you that guys as well. And then knowledge of Selenium, that is definitely part of this training. And then you should be having some know-how to install softwares. Like if you don't know how to install softwares and libraries that include jar files, you are basically not good at using these machines. So you should be like having a little know-how of these things. Then you should be having some knowledge of manual testing as well, as I have already mentioned that if you don't know anything about manual testing, you cannot extract the scenarios that you have to automate. So you have to be very, like good, or at least you should having a basic know-how of manual testing as well, so that you can segregate the scenarios. Okay, there are 100 of scenarios, and okay, these 20 need to be automated and these 10 can be automated. So like to make the decision to extract the scenarios, you must be having basic of manual testing. We will be covering up that thing as well. Then choice of language. This have already been made. I told you that we are going to use Java. Basically, Selenium is a prominent tool in the world of automation testing for web applications. And on the other hand, Java is the most heavily used programming language in today's market. So these both technologies are a perfect combination. You guys must be like thinking about Python, JavaScript, but like the word 77% of the testers use Java. Java has more scope, has more, you can say, flexibility, and they make a good combination. So we are going to opt Java here. Okay, so next there is some little bit introduction of Selenium. Selenium is basically an open source tool that is available openly. Anyone can make contributions towards Selenium, and it is open source. You don't have to pay a penny to use Selenium. That is totally free, and you can test out it like use Selenium for various browsers. You can use this for Safari, for Firefox, for Chrome, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge. So it is flexible to a lot of browsers and a lot of programming languages as well. You can use Java, Python, JavaScript, C#, and Rails, Python. So like there are flexibility to use any of the languages and any of the browsers. So and one you can say limitation is that you can only test web applications with Selenium. You cannot test mobile applications and desktop applications. But there are some variants of Selenium, just like Appium, that is basically used to test out mobile applications. So for the web-based application, Selenium is always the best choice. This is another description why we are going to use Selenium. So first of all, it supports web-based automation testing. Okay, so that is why whenever we have to test a website, Selenium would be our first choice. Then it supports multiple operating systems. What do we mean by operating systems? We can use Selenium for Windows, Linux, Mac. So we can use this for multiple operating systems. We can use this for multiple browsers. We can use it for Chrome. We can use it for Firefox. We can use it for Safari. We can use it for IE. We can use it for Microsoft Edge. So there are a lot of flexibilities for browsers as well. Then it supports multiple programming languages, just like Java, Python, Ruby, I would say ROR, Ruby on Rails, then C#, then JavaScript. So this is flexible towards languages as well. And okay, then multiple frameworks. So we have a lot of options in frameworks as well. And then it is again open source. We don't have to pay any fee to use this. Okay. So these are the basically some plus points of using Selenium. So we would be focusing on these things that first of all, it's free. It's for websites. It's for multiple operating systems. It's for multiple browsers. We just have to link our script with a just like if we want to use Chrome, we want to test our script on Chrome, we would just include Chrome driver in our code, and we would give it instructions to like run that script on Chrome, and that internet what was that Chrome driver that would link our script with this Chrome, and we would be using it. If we want this for Firefox, we would be using its driver and like respectively for other as well. Then we have flexibility for multiple programming languages, for multiple frameworks, and again, it's open source. So we have a lot of choices when we use this, we have a lot of options, so we can use them on the basis of our needs. So that is why we are going to choose Selenium. Then again, there are some advantages of Selenium. It's open source, flexible to multiple programming languages. As I have already explained, supports various operating systems, Windows, Linux, Mac, then various browsers, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, and Safari. Then supports parallel text execution, like we can execute multiple or tests parallelly. Like we don't have to wait for the first to be finished and then we can like execute the next one. We can like execute those tests parallel. Then faster test execution, since we can like execute them parallel, so we can like faster that test execution. And finally, it supports the test execution when Windows is minimized. So this is like some these are the advantages of using Selenium. And again here, a little bit description is given over here that why basically we can. Okay. Like what are the plus points of using Selenium. So we can easily read logs and debug those things. We can capture the screens by testing. We can use the CI/CD pipeline, basically, which is integration with other tools, and we can like integrate our Selenium code with defect tracking tools, with our test case writing tools. So like a lot more easier to be integrated with them. There is the ease of learning in this thing. So it's flexible as well, and it's an application technology which is present and proposed. It's multiple operating system and multiple browser support, and then we can easily customize the reports and we can get the like comprehensive reports in Selenium as well. So these are the plus points you can say which we have to consider while we are going to use Selenium. I hope the idea is clear and we are very obvious with our selection why we choose Selenium. Okay. Next, there is a demo script, which is basically like this is going to a website. Let me explain this to you guys a little bit, and then we would be like writing this script as well. And you can say, you can start reading this from here. Rest of the things are the configurations, and we would be doing them later. So from this line, we are basically going to a website. We are identifying the email field. We are identifying the password field, we are identifying the login button, then we are entering values into them, and then we are clicking on the login. Basically, as a human, when we have to test out the login functionality of some website, what we usually do is we open the browser, we open the website, we go to that website, the login page of that website, and then we find email and we enter email in that field. Then we find password and we enter password in that field, and then we like find the login button and we click on that, and then we verify that okay, user is navigated to the dashboard or not. So this is basically verification of the login script. So same thing has been covered over here. First of all, this line of code is basically opening the browser for us. This is basically opening the website for us. These three lines are identifying those elements. These two lines, we are entering email in the email field and password in the password field. And then finally on this line, we are clicking on the login button. And the last three lines, these are the basically verifications that once user has clicked on this login button, either user has been navigated to the dashboard or not. So this is basically, you can say, a sort of confirmation, validation, like if our script has performed the expected way, we are expecting that the user should be on the dashboard after user has logged in using the right credentials. So this could help us to go to that point and we can verify that, okay, our script is working fine, our website is working fine, and we can say that, okay, since our script was passed, it means that our website is working fine and login functionality is perfectly fine. Is that clear? So this is, you can say, a login script. Then whenever you want to automate the login process of some website, you just have to write some simple script just like this one, and you are good to go. We would be writing these things from scratch in the coming sessions, and you would be getting hands-on as well. Let's jump to the next slide. we have to do some configurations. We have to install IntelliJ, which is basically the tool I will be showing you guys in a couple minutes. This is basically the tool, the compiler that we will be using to write our code in. Then we have to install JDK, Java Development Kit. Basically, this is needed to write code in Java. Then we have to install TestNG, that is basically a framework that provides us some annotations that are helpful by writing up the code. Then we have to install Selenium, that is basically the tool we are going to use for automation. And then we have to create some project, and then we would be defining up some project structure, and we will be writing up our code. And let's go to the next slide, but that one for us. So it has a link that is basically taking us to a website, JetBrains. This is basically the official, what should I say, the official website of IntelliJ. Let's go to that and talk about the downloading things. It is opening jetbrains.com over here, and we are landing on this page. There are two additions. One of them is community, and other one is ultimate. This one is paid, so we won't be using that one, and we would be using community edition for now. But in the long run, if we will be facing some problems, we can move towards ultimate as well. But like in my professional, like you can say career, I have been always using community edition, and that is good to use. And we might need that one. So the link I have provided in the slides, I will share the slides with you guys here on the Windows. We are already, like once I open that link, we are already landing on this Windows part. So if you have Windows, you can download your respective version. I would recommend community one because we don't want to spend a penny over here. If you have Mac, you can go to Mac OS or Linux, so respective to your operating system. You can download this one, and let's do the thing and download this. I click on it. I can download either zip file or exe file. So exe is fine. I would click on download, and this will start downloading over here in a while. And here is a 599 megabyte file. I already have this, so I am not going to, you can say, install this. So you can just go to this link and get that downloaded, and we will be installing that thing in a couple minutes. And till that, be sure that you like download this community edition. I have added a screenshot over here so that you can guys get reminded of that you have to download the community edition. Then we have to download the JDK. That is basically the Java development kit. Whenever you have to like write programming language, you have to get the dependencies for that language. So for writing Java, we need Java development kit. So like Oracle, the official website of Oracle that provides installable executable file of JDK. We can just get that from this link, and I will hit that link, and that will take me to the official website of Oracle. And here we are. Since we have, like I have provided the exact URL for Windows, so we are landing on this section. I will download this executable file here, installer. Okay, so you can get this from here. I'll click on this, and this will start downloading. It's again a 159 megabyte file. I already have this, so I'm not going to download this and waste my internet over here. So once you get all of these things downloaded, you can verify that like this will always be having the latest version, the latest stable version. So you can get that thing from here. And once you have all of these things, next we have to download TestNG. And for that purpose, I will simply go to Google and type TestNG jar file. And okay, file download. Sorry about the spellings. I'm not pretty good at those things, but Google is pretty much clever to understand that thing. It will be taking me to this site, and I think that is of no use. I can simply go to some other website. The official one doesn't contain the jar files. They simply like give you the dependency tag. We can simply go to this jardownload.com, and here we can find one just like here. It is saying that download TestNG 7.6.1. I will click on this, and this will start downloading. It can take a couple minutes, but okay, here it is. Let's download it. It was a smaller one, so not a big problem. And once we have TestNG, I'll explain the, you can say, purpose of TestNG later on. But for now, just do the configurations as I am guiding you. Then we have to download Selenium. Let's go to the website, and I would say selenium.dev. This is the official website of Selenium. And it's taking me to the website. And here we have to go to the downloads. And then here it says opposite to the Selenium server grid, we have latest stable version, which is 4.5.0. I'll click on this, and this is downloading this Selenium server 4.5.0, and we can get that download. So this is how we downloaded IntelliJ. Okay, the thing we will be writing our code in. We downloaded JDK to write our code in Java. We downloaded TestNG to keep our code structured, and we have downloaded Selenium to automate everything. So once we have everything, let's get back to the installation process. Okay. So I have already included everything over here. You can get everything from every guide from here. And this is something you will be downloading, like the thing I have been showing you here in Selenium server that is being downloaded here. And then, okay, let's jump here and do the configuration. I will open this and downloads, and I would say IntelliJ. I'm finding that thing. And okay, I hope so. I have that. IntelliJ. There's a lot of stuff over here. Okay, here we have this IDEA, and I can double click on this one and it will start installing. Same thing will be going on once you guys start installation of this thing. It's opening up. It says that, okay, do you want to allow this app to make changes? Okay, I would say yes. I already have this one, so I would say that you like current version is already installed. It will like reinstall everything. I would say, okay, yes. I have just follow up these instructions next. And it says that, okay, there should be a, like you can say, what should I say? The application. I would say, okay, uninstall silently so that my configurations are not lost. I would say next. And it's now uninstalling the existing one, and it would reinstall the next one. I would say, okay, create a desktop shortcut. I can create these associations, and open folder as project is fine with me. Next, just follow the things I am doing, and these will help you a lot in configuration. Now it's installing that thing. Let's wait for some time to get this installed, and then we can like move on to the next thing. Meanwhile, this thing gets installed. You can double click on the JDK thing to install, download it from the Oracle website. You can double click on that, and the installer will be start running, and JDK will be installed on your machine. I will show you how it looks like once it's installed. I don't want to like what should I say, mess up with my JDK. You can simply double click on that, and something like this would be installed in your machine. Java 8. JDK here, 64-bit. So like you can simply double click on that, and the installer will start running. And IntelliJ is like already working. Let's wait for this to get completed, and then we can create our project and start writing our code. Okay, almost done. And like there is some time consumed in doing these configurations, but that is worth it, because if I simply skip these steps, you won't be getting up like you can say that that thing that is like required to like you can find some videos on YouTube as well, but what purpose of mine being here is that I explain those things from scratch and to every possible detail so that you guys don't stuck at any point. Whenever you have a complete guide, who are always going to do things. So it's almost completing the process of installation. And okay, it's installed. I would say run this. I would check this box and finish. And this will like simply open IntelliJ for me in a couple minutes. Okay, it's installing or opening over here. And there is a sample project, like it hasn't deleted my existing things, so those are here. Close. Okay, so when you would be, since I didn't delete my previous thing, so it has opened in a different way, and you guys would be opening that thing, that the interface would be a little different. Okay, so there would be a point, there would be a screen showing you that okay, you want to create a new project or something, so you can follow these things. If any way, if you like close that pop-up, you would be seeing this interface, and you can simply click on file, new, and project. And I would say, okay, here I have created like a folder Selenium TechR here in my C drive, I guess, yeah. So I have created a folder over here, and I would say Selenium, the name of the project, Selenium Automation. Okay, so Java, language is Java selected by default, build system is IntelliJ, JDK, the thing you have installed is already picked up over here. And I would say, okay, create this thing, and I want to open this window. So here is my project, and you are going to be a developer in a couple minutes. I would open the main file, and here is a program that comes with by default this thing. So like whenever you create a sample Java project, this thing would be always in front of your eyes. So we are going to run this, and we are expecting that this is going to print out hello world in front of us. This is the play button over here. If you click on this one and click on run, it would simply print out hello world in the console over here. Just wait for a couple seconds, and we would see the results here. You can, if I want to print out something else, I would say dot out dot println. This is, sorry about the spelling, my first class at TechR. Okay. So now after hello world, this thing should be printed out over here. So I'm going to grab some water until this runs and prints out that thing over here. So you see, it has printed out that thing over here, hello world, and then this is my first class at TechR. So this is how basically we print out our data, we print out our variables and everything we want to print out in Java using this command system.out.println, and then we can simply pass in the value that we want to print over here. So that's all about printing out the thing. We are done with our JDK. When this code starts working, you see something printed out over here. It means that Java is installed. It is picking up the Java language. It is like printing out the things fine. This means that Java is good to go. Now let's do some other configurations to run on Selenium on our system as well. So we have to do these configurations for every project we create on. So we downloaded one thing Selenium, and the other thing TestNG. So we are going to include that thing in this project so that we can write our code in Selenium, so that we can like use TestNG. TestNG is basically a framework that helps us to keep our code structured. So to do the configurations and to write up our, to get our system ready for Selenium thing, I would go to this file. I would say project structure, modules. Okay, let me repeat that thing for you. I would say file, project structure, this one, Control-Alt-Shift-S is the command for this thing. I would go to modules, the second point, and here dependencies, this one. There are three things: sources, paths, dependencies. they have their different configurations, but we have to go to dependencies and we have to click on this plus icon, add. Okay, there are two plus icons. One is here and other is here. I can click on this one and it says that's jar or directories. We downloaded the jar files, right? Jar file for Selenium, jar file for TestNG. So we are going to add those things. I'm going to repeat this thing for the last time. File, project structure, modules, dependencies, and then plus icon. Click on jar or dependencies. Now I want to include those things. You can like keep your things structured and you can create a folder and you can store those things in that like you can say jar folder and you can save your jar files in that folder as well. I believe I have created something like that here. I have a folder Selenium jar files. So I can pick that thing from here, Selenium server. And I believe I'm in the wrong folder and live and okay, that's not here. Things mess up sometime. So let's look up for these things manually on the system. Okay, you can cancel this out and let's find those things outside this tool. And I believe those are in my C drive and jar file. I am hoping that they are here somewhere. Selenium must be in the lib. Okay, let's look up those for those things in downloads. TestNG is already here. I can simply extract that and extract files. And okay, that is here, and we have TestNG over here, right? Let's look up for the Selenium server. Okay. Okay, this is empty. Selenium. Okay, we can find that from some other project as well. Let me open up some project. Let's say go to this one, and I can find this from its settings. So then I find out the location, project structure, and it is in C, DIS, and jar. Okay. So this is how you can also find out the places from the existing project. So I will go to project structure plus jar or directories, and what was that? DIS and jar. This is DIS and jar. Okay, so I am a little bit organized, I can say. So we got Selenium over here and TestNG over here. So I'm gonna click those, like select them together, and I can simply like select them, click on one and control click on the other, and both will get selected. Okay, apply, and both are here, and I can click on OK. Now our this project is all set for Selenium and TestNG. I have you like defined that thing over here, so I can simply use that thing over here as well. So now I would like to show you how we can open our browser inside the Selenium code. I would go over here, create a new called class. I would say Selenium first script. Okay, so let's open browser using this script. I just want to show you something running before our break in 5 minutes, because we will be having 10 minutes break after 1 hour, so that we can freshen up ourselves, and then we will be continuing in 10 minutes. And let's just look for something, login Selenium script. I'm just going to Google and copy something from there so that we don't waste our time writing up entire thing from scratch. I will just copy this thing. Okay, here. Okay, that's fine. I will copy this and come back here. And here I will define a method, public void, okay, main string. Okay, and the main method of Java that is always required. And I will copy this thing here this WebDriver, you can say it says that org.openqa.selenium. It's identifying this thing. If I haven't added the Selenium jar file, this won't be giving me some suggestion. So I would say Alt Enter, and it would import this class. You can see here it already added WebDriver here. Same like if I Alt Enter on this thing, it would import that thing over here. So all errors are gone. And this line, look at this line. I told you guys while explaining the prerequisites of automation that we have to link our script with the browser, right? So we are going to use the Chrome driver for now. So I will like pass in the path of my Chrome driver here so that my script recognizes this. And again, being some organized, I have placed my drivers over here, C, DIS, and here. It's here, I would say shift and control, right click on this and it says copy as path. Again, shift, hold shift and right click on this and you would see copy as path. Okay, I would copy this and instead of this path of driver, I will paste that thing here and it's double quotes. I will remove this and okay, single quotes. And now I'm expecting that this thing, only this thing can open the browser for me, right? I have just given the path of my Chrome driver and some configurations and like this will simply open up the browser for me. If I public static, okay, yeah, so we have to give the method a date type as well. So now we have got a play button over here. Once I run this thing, only click on this button, I would be getting a Chrome instance opened and that will be showing me something. I will click on this, okay, this green icon, run. And now let's just wait for the browser to be opened. So it's here, you see, this browser is basically opened inside Selenium. Now let's type some website here so that we can open that in Selenium. I would say driver.get. This is a method of Selenium. And I want to go to HTTPS. Okay, I believe this is the syntax, www.google.com. So now I am expecting that this script would be opening Google Chrome for me, and then it would be opening up google.com for me. I would simply click on this play button. And here we are, Chrome browser is started and here link should be entered and google.com should be open. So here you go. So this is how basically we open our websites inside Selenium. We configure like now once this browser is open, once you see here Chrome drivers was started successfully, this means that your Selenium configurations are good, your Java is working, everything is working fine. Okay. So let's just say I want to go to gmail.com. So instead of google.com, I would say gmail.com and I would run this. And great, it would start the browser in sec here. And now it should be opening www.gmail.com for me. So it's opening that thing. Depending upon your internet speed and rest of the factors, it can take some time. And ultimately, it will load the website for us, gmail.com. Okay, link is fine. Probably internet is down at this time, so it may take a while, but it will get opened. Hope so. So we are running into 1 hour, so let's go into the break. And once we are back, we can look into the issue and identify why it's not opening either. Okay, we got it. It's open. Gmail.com is basically open. So I am setting up a timer when we are 10 minutes up, then you guys can come back and join me back here and give me a second to turn on the timer, online timer. Okay, timer. And here we have, I'm setting it to 10 minutes. And I hope that you guys are back in 10 minutes. 10 minutes, right? And I'm going to start this right away. See you soon. back, everyone. I hope you guys had a good refreshment time. And okay, so we were talking about Selenium configurations, test configurations, and like a lot of configuration things. And we did everything in the last hour. We actually did the configurations, and we have completed those things. We achieved opening the browser in the what should I say, in Selenium as well. And we found that our configurations are working fine. So we are good to move forward, and we can continue the rest of the things for today. Now, from now onwards, we will open another website inside our Selenium, and then we will move on to some Java concepts. Those are part of today's class actually. And then we will be moving towards real-time practice. In the next sessions, we would be doing like automating some websites, like the practical hands-on thing as well. So let's get back to our code, and it's here. We open google.com and gmail.com over here. So now let's open some other website. Then let's just say we want to open this browser stacks sign-in website. So I will simply copy this URL and go back here. Instead of this thing, I will paste this thing here. So now I'm expecting that I'm commenting this thing, this line number 9 for now, and you have to find out the difference. This is commented, this is being ignored. Whenever these forward slashes you would be seeing over here, it means that this thing is ignored. This is not executed. Okay. So when I am clicking on this play button, this is basically ignored. So now you have to feel the difference. I am clicking on run. Okay. Now I'm supposing that it has to open this website. Okay. Okay, this opened, and this opened this website. But the difference is we are seeing this Chrome browser in half of the screen. Now get back to our code, and here you can see it was driver.manage.window.maximize. Basically, this is maximizing that thing to the full screen. When I uncomment this, when I unignore this and re-execute this line, I would say I'm expecting that it should be opening that thing in the whole browser. See, it has like maximized the whole screen, and here is the website. Now I want my program that once this website is opened, now you have to tell user that okay, website was opened. So I would say system.out.println website open. Okay, that thing was messed a little bit. So I would like to website open once this link is properly open, and I'm going to run this, and I'm expecting that once the website is completely loaded, it should print out the website open text in the console. So now let's wait for the website to be loaded properly. Depending upon the internet, it can take some time, and I think so internet is lagging at this time. And okay, it opened that thing. And once the page is loaded, then we are going to verify the text printed in the console as well. Okay, it's printing. Okay. This is still loading. Let's get back to the code. Then we will be seeing that text printed over here. So let's wait. Okay, now you can see that and here you can see website opened, right? Here. And it says that, okay, process finished with exit code 0. Now, if I what should I say?
like if I make this something invalid, instead of users, I have removed R. Now it should give me an error because website is not, this is not a valid URL. This has become an invalid. Now it should not print this thing because it hasn't executed this line properly. It didn't find that thing. So I would run this and might be we get an error over here and might we get that printed because actually the link that has been provided that would be open, but that would not be a valid one. So maybe we still our action is performed. Our driver.get is working fine. It says that the page you are looking cannot be found, but still we got that thing website opened over here. Like this thing was executed, some website like some operation was performed. I will report that thing and I would show you that if some condition gets wrong, the next line doesn't get executed. So we can see that later on. So everything is all set up. Our configurations are working fine. Our Selenium is perfectly installed. Our Java, like our Java coding is working fine. TestNG is rest to be confirmed. And for now, we are all set with the configurations. So let's get back to our slides and meet our agenda for today. Close these things. These are the drivers. These are the instance opened in Selenium. Every time I executed script, it opened a new instance. So best practice is that at the end of script, you say driver.quit. So once your script will be, what should I say, executed, it will automatically close that instance. I would like to show you an example. Now let me close this one and last one, and let's run this. And now after performing everything, it should quit that instance. The browser should be closed. It's going to that website, it's waiting for the page to be completely loaded. Okay. And now you can see that it already closed that driver itself. So this is a best practice to optimize your scripts so that you don't overhead your system. Like if I keep on, like if I don't close the drivers or the instances at the end of the script, there would be a lot of, what should I say, instances open at the end. So like it's a hectic thing. It's like not a good looking thing. So you should take care of that thing along wise. So this is basically something that let's get back here and let's follow our slides. So now we are all set. Our configurations are done. And now I would like to introduce some Java concepts to you. So basically Java variable is something that keeps on changing. Okay. So variable is something that keeps on changing. So in programming, when you define variables, they are supposed to have a data type and a unique name. So this int means integer. So this integer is basically the data type, and this count, this one, this is basically the name. So this is how basically you define the variables. This is the declaration. Okay. Whenever you declare a variable, it means that you have to define a data type and a name, a data type and a unique name. Every variable must have a unique name so that your script doesn't get confused. So every time you declare a variable, you must specify the data type and the variable should be having a unique name. So here you like there are three variables defined, A, B, and C, and all of them are of integer data type. Here only one variable is declared, which is of float data type. Again, another variable of D name D, and its data type is double. So this is basically the variable declaration. This is how you declare variables. And next is the variable initialization. That is when you assign a value to your variable. I will like explain this thing in a detailed manner. Here, pi, the pi we defined in the last slide, which was float pi. Its value is 3.144f. When you assign some value to variable, this is basically initialization. And when you give a variable a name and data type, that is basically variable declaration. Is that clear? So defining the variable with the name and data type, that is basically the declaration of the variable.
and giving the variable a value is basically the initialization of that variable. Is that clear? And this is a method in how you basically define variables. Okay, so let's get to the next slide where we are going to deal with variable declaration and initialization in one step. Here you can see we have declared a variable integer count, int count. This is the data type integer and this is the name of the variable, right? And 100 is basically the value of the variable. So this thing on this side of equal, this is variable declaration, and this thing, this is initialization. So we can combine variable declaration and initialization in one step, just like this one. Int count equals 100. And in examples, you can see we have defined int a equal 2, b equals 4, c equals 6. So we have defined, declared, and initialized 3 variables in one single step. Okay. All of them, like all of the 3 are of integer type, A, B, and C. All of them of integer type. They will be storing the integer data and their values are 2, 4, and 6 respectively. So this is the variable declaration and initialization in one single step. Then we got float pi equals 3.14 f. So this is basically the variable initialization and declaration in one step. Then we have double DO equals to 20.22D. So this is the variable of double data type, and that has been declared and initialized in one single step. And again, we have character A, we have the data type character, and the name of the variable is A, and we have defined we have given it a value as well, which is V. So this is how basically we combine variable declaration and initialization in one. I hope this point makes a sense and you can try and declare some variables. Let's get back to our code and try to initialize and declare some variables. I would say integer a equals, we won't be only reading the slides, we would be doing some hands-on experience. I would say this int a, this is basically a declaration. I have just given it a data type and a name. When I say a equals 20, now this is the initialization, right? This is declaration. And this thing is initialization. Sorry about the spellings, guys. Okay, so this is initialization and this is declaration. Only giving the name and data type is basically declaration and giving it a value is initialization. I can combine this in one step as well. I would say int a equals 20. Now you see that I am getting an error over here. It says that variable a is already defined in the scope. Remember the definition I told you? It should have a unique name here. Remember? It should have a unique name. Every variable should have its unique name. That is why we are getting an error over here. So I can change it to something else. I can say int b. So now these are two different variables. And this is the simple declaration. This is the simple initialization. This is initialization. Okay, plus declaration. Is that clear? This makes sense now. Now this is also the same thing as this one, but like this is more comprehensive. It is consuming only one line of code, and it is meeting the purpose of these two lines. So this is more, you can say, appreciated and encouraged way of declaring and initializing variables. So if I want to print out this variable, I would say system.out.println, and I want to print out the value of b. So I'm expecting that after this is my first class at TechR, it should print out this 20. So I will simply execute this. And here, whatever is stored in this B, that will be getting printed over here. If I want to print out the value of A, I can simply say A and run. Now it should print, okay, it won't make any difference because both of the values are same. I can change this to 18 and just to make a difference here. If whatever would be stored in the variables, that would be like printed out at this point. Now you can see that the thing that gets used, it turned to a white color
and this B is never used. So this is basically a gray color. So I can print out these two things as well. Okay, this would simply add these things. So I can simply, I would try to segregate them, and I can say A plus, this is basically a concatenation. Now this would simply print out the value in A and value in B. Now I would be saying 18 and 20 together. And I hope so this was this way here. It printed out the value of 18 and 20. I didn't add this space like this string in between of these things, this empty string. It would have added A and B because these are two integers and we got a plus operation between them. Let me execute that thing for you. And hopefully that will print 38 over here. And here it goes. So basically, I just wanted to separate them out and I just added some space between them. And this would simply print out the values of both A and B. This makes sense, I guess. So this is how we print out the variables. And this is basically the declaration of the variables and initialization of the variables. The idea is pretty clear. Next comes the types of the variables. In Java, basically, we have three types of variables. Those are the local ones, instance variables, static variables. Local are the basically that are defined inside a method of the body. I will be doing some, sorry about that. So local variables are the ones that will be defined, declared inside the body of the method. Locally, we have to use them inside methods. So we simply declare them inside those methods. Instance variables are basically without the static keyword, and static are with the static keyword, but out basically they are declared at the start of the program execution. I will be showing you guys some examples of them in a while. My throat gets dry. So my throat is basically a little sensitive, you can say. So I have to grab water again and again. You have to bear with me. Okay, so let's just go through the definitions. There are basically three types of variables. Local are defined or declared inside the body of the method. Instance variables are basically, they are without the static keywords and they are defined. You have to memorize this thing. They are defined outside the method declaration. And static, they are only initialized once and they are at the start of the program execution. Whenever you have to use a static variable, you have to define that, declare that at the start of the program execution, and these should be initialized first before any instance variable. If you want to use these two, static and instance, you have to define static before these instance methods. Let's get to the examples of these things. I would move on to the next slide, which is there is an example, okay? So let's just get here, and this is a class basically. So as I told you that the thing that would be defined, the variable that would be declared inside the method, this one, integer A, this is basically defined inside this method, right? This public static void main, this would be the main method of this class. This is the class. Whenever you would be writing code, first of all, you would be having a class, and class can comprise of multiple methods. Just like this class, main class has a main method. Their names can be different, but like here, this is a class Selenium first script, and this is having a main method. So this goes on and on. For now, this integer A is basically a local variable because this is defined inside this method and this is used only locally. We cannot access this outside this. If I say A here, it would be showing me an error that A is not defined. Okay, so this is only usable or can be used inside this body of the method. So this is basically a local variable. Now let's talk about the instance and static variable. So these both have to be defined outside the method, but inside the class. So let's just say static int A equals 10. Now this is basically a static integer type variable, and this can be accessed inside this class anywhere. And the other one is basically the instance variable. that is not a static one, I would say in data equals 50. Okay, so this one is basically the static variable. This one is basically the instance variable without the static keyword. So whenever you want to use something locally, you have to go with the local variable. When you have to, like, you don't want to change this value, you can simply use this static keyword. This would remain static, and you have to define it at the start of the program. And this one is like basically you want to use it globally inside the class. So you can simply define this that way, and you can use this one. So this is how basically we talk about the types of variables in Java. Okay, so three types: static, local, instance. Local is to be defined inside the method's body and can be used only inside the method, right? The instance is basically without the static keyword and has to be defined after the static keyword, if there is any static. And the static variable is basically that has to be declared at the top of the program execution. If you want to use any static variable, you have to declare that variable at the start of the program. Then we have some methods we are going to write up, and we are going to see the magic of the Java. Let's just say I have a string. String is another data type. There are multiple data types. You can go to Google. I would recommend W3 Schools, a website, a very good website to learn some programming language. You can go there and learn that thing from there. You can simply type in Java tutorials, W3 Schools, and you can get the idea from there. So basically, I was talking about Java string. So integers are the data types, strings are the data types. Whenever I like this hello world, is basically a string, right? So this data type is a string. So we are going to write up a method. This is a class. Okay, here. So the line number 1, this is a class, and line number 6, this is a method. We are going to write another method. I would say public void main. Instead of main, it should be string length. And I want to calculate the string length. So I would say, okay, and I would say string text. And I say I want that whatever we provide here, it has to print out the length of that string. So I would say system.out.println, and what should be printed? Text dot length. Now, instead of this thing, this advanced thing for a while, let's just remove this from here. And I would say string text equals calculate the length. Now I want to calculate the length of this string, right? I would simply say system.out.println text, this text, whatever is stored in this text, this would print out the length of that text. Okay. Now I only have to call this method inside my main method, and this will print out that thing for me. I would simply say string. Okay, string, I should say static, because I have to use it there. So I would say public static, and it should be coming up over here. So once, if I don't write this statement, this method, okay, this method is of no use. You can see that when I hover on this one, it says it's never used, right? If I call this inside main method has to be there every time whenever you have to do some programming. Main method is the basically point of starting the execution. So execution basically starts from this point. Whatever methods you have written in your code, method is basically a function. A function is performing a specific functionality, just like this method is calculating the length of the string, right? So this is performing a specific function. Whenever you have multiple functions, you can simply define multiple methods. So this is basically a method. So now it is of no use because I haven't called it yet in the main method. I will simply go and call this one, and this will print out the length of the string. I will show you the difference. But firstly, we are going to call this method. This is basically the method definition, and this is calling a method. This is how we define a method, and this is how we call a method. So I would say run this, and now it should return me this string length. It says 21. I can like make it more comprehensive by saying string length or maybe I should say length of the, and then I can concatenate text and is, and again a plus. Okay, so now it should print that length of this thing is whatever the length is. Let's rerun this and you can see the difference in the output. It says that length of, calculate the length, whatever is stored in this thing that would be printed over here is 21. I can do something again. I can make it, to make it more precise, I will again add a quotation mark and I can give this way, and okay, I can add this one and again a plus icon, and you would see the result is more comprehensive and it's executing. You can see the length of the, calculate the length is 21. Let's change this to something. Calculate my length. Now this thing should be printed over here. So this is how basically you can see length of, calculate my length is 90. So this is basically a method. If I just remove this line or like ignore this line or comment this line, now this thing should not be printed because I have written up a method, but I haven't called that inside the main method, right? So let's execute this one. And I'm hoping that this last thing shouldn't be here, right? That thing is not here. If I uncomment this, now this won't be ignored and that would be printing whatever is written up in that method here. So you see, this is how basically we calculate the length of the string inside Java. Let's get back to our slides and see what is our next method. So this is how they have printed out the length of the strings. This would be the sample code with you guys. You can practice that thing. I will be sharing these slides at the end of the lecture with you guys. And you can practice out those things, and at the end of the session, I will be giving up you an assignment as well that you have to cover up and complete up before the upcoming session. And let's see how it goes. And now we have another method of Java, which is lowercase converter, uppercase converter. So we will be giving up our method, a string in the uppercase, and then we will be converting that to lowercase using the Java method. So let's see how it goes. I'm going to write up a method here. I would say public static void, and I would say I want to convert my lowercase uppercase to lowercase. So I would say lowercase. This is the name of the method, and I can say there will be a string and uppercase. I would give it the uppercase string. This, okay, this is uppercase. I want this to be converted to lowercase. So I would say system.out.println and okay, lowercase of whatever is stored in upper, okay, instead of this, I would say uppercase is, and then print out uppercase dot load. So when this thing will be executed, only this thing, this will convert this to lowercase. Let's just call this method over here, just like we did the string length. If we don't call it over here, that is of no use. So I'm going to call it over here lowercase. Now we would be getting a printed line that would be converting this uppercase, this string, this is uppercase, to a lowercase. You can say this is written up in capital letters. So we are expecting that when this line is executed, this prints out this thing in the lowercase. So let's run this. And you can see low, okay, instead of lower, I typed it loser. I'm sorry about that. Lowercase of this is uppercase is, this is uppercase. So you see, only calling up this two lowercase method, that is basically a built-in method of Java, it has converted that to uppercase. So let's rerun this so that we don't have loser over here and we have lowercase over here. So this is basically the output, right? So this is basically how we convert our uppercase strings to lowercase. This is how basically, now let's do the next thing and convert a lowercase string to an uppercase. uppercase. I would say public static void, and instead of upper lowercase, I would call it uppercase. Okay, and I would say string lowercase. Now I have to provide a lowercase string. This is lowercase string, and let's just say you have to print this to uppercase system.out.println and uppercase of, and then whatever it is, lowercase and is, and it should convert that thing uppercase. Okay, instead of uppercase, it should be lowercase dot to uppercase. Now I'm expecting that this thing should be converted to uppercase and printed out at the bottom. I'm going to call this method here, just like we did for lowercase. I have called this here, and this thing should be printing out the string in the uppercase. So here I provided the method a lowercase string, okay, and this has converted this to, this is lowercase string and uppercase string, right? So this is how basically these things work over here, and we can like call up Java methods and we can see their magic over here. Is it great? So you have to like do everything on your own as well. You would be like performing these things on your own. You would be writing up methods. You would be declaring and initializing variables as well. So this would be an ongoing process. Whatever I am doing in this class is just to show you the base and to build up a base for you so that you guys can practice these things on your own and you guys can like learn something so that you can earn something. So practice is the key. Whenever you have to learn something, you have to practice this. So ultimately you would be able to earn as well. So practice until you learn and until you earn. Okay. So keep practicing, keep learning, and keep earning. Let's get back to our slides. We have covered up these things. We have like converted our strings to lowercase to uppercase. Now let's go to the next slide. That is basically uppercase. Then we have iterations in Java. That these are the some detailed topics for future. But for now, I would like to do this thing. If I want to print out some text for some specific, let's say I want to say hello for 10 times, I can write up a method for it. Okay. I would say public static void and print hello. And I would say, okay, there are loops. You don't need to worry about this one for now. Just look at the magic. Int I would say, okay, int I equals 0, I less than 10, and I plus. What you have to do is system.out.println hello. Now, this would basically print out hello for 10 times. I think so. Okay. Because I just have to, I have given it a command that you have to repeat this thing until this condition is true. This is basically, I have defined a variable. Until this I less than 10 is true, it has to print this thing out. The last thing I have to do is I have to just call this method up here in the main method. And we are going to go, I would say, what was the name? Print. Okay. So after this line, I'm expecting that it prints out hello for the defined number. Okay, here we are. It has printed it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It would be breaking up this condition at the 10th point when this condition would be false. But since it's starting from 0, so it has printed that to 10th number, and we have got our output. So this is how, if we want to iterate over something, we make use of loops. There are for loops, while loops, do while, for each. We will be covering them up in detail in the upcoming sessions. But for now, just get an idea that, okay, how we have to perform iterations in Java. We do use loops. Then operators in Java, we can do addition, just like using the plus icon, plus operator, minus operator, multiplication, division. I will do something for the first two, and I would say public, static, void, and I can say add, and I would define two variables, int a equals 10 and b equals 50,
and I have to like add these things. So I would say system.out.println, and I can say sum of A and B, and I can type these as well here and can concatenate A plus B. Okay, so I'm expecting that when this method is called, it has to print out the sum of A and B. So the last thing I have to do is I have to call this method over here, which is sum. Okay, that was add actually. And now after these bunch of hellos, it have to print out whatever the sum of A and B is. So let's execute this and see if it is printing out the result over here. Okay. It has manipulate, like it printed out 10 and 50 over here. So instead of this thing, we can do another thing. I can store this in another variable. I will show you why I did this thing. For now, just let's save the time and get the result. And I can simply print out sum over here. So now instead of 10 and 50, it should print out sum of 10 and 50. Okay, so you can see that it says sum of A and B is 60. If I add a space over here, it would be more comprehensive, and it would say sum of A and B is 60, right? If I change this to something else, 18 and 22, let's see if it calculates the sum correctly or not. We just change the variable values, and it has given us the result, which is basically 18 plus 22, and we got the 40 result over here. Similarly, we are going to do a method for subtraction as well. I would say system public static void subtract, and this one I would define two variables, C equals 50 and B equals 20. And I would say integer sub, okay, I can call it difference as well, is equal to C minus D. And let's print this thing out, system.out.println difference of C and D. Okay, yes, whatever is stored in difference. So last thing I have to do is, you guys do remember, I have to just call this method over here in the main, and I would say subtract. Let's just run this, and okay, you can see that difference of C and D is 30 over here. What were the numbers? 50 and 20. 50 minus 20 is 30. Let's change this to 100 and let's just say 15 and see the difference. We would be getting 85, I guess. Yeah. And we got 8 differences of C and D is basically 85. So rest of the part is yours. Do write a method for division, multiplication, and keep on seeing the magic of these operators in Java. So this is basically all about doing these things. You have to, like talking about from the start, what we have covered today is we basically started from doing the integrations. We talked about why we are going to learn this thing. I'm just giving you a quick overview of the achievements, and let's take a look. Either we have like met the key areas of today's session or not. First of all, we discussed why we are going to do automation. Then we learned about prerequisites of automation, then basics of automation. Then we did a demo, did the configurations, and then we ultimately wrote up some Java code. So the key areas for today have already been accomplished. So you have to practice a lot, and you have to build up a strong base for your training. Because if your base is not strong, you can say building is not strong. If you're not going to invest some time and some practice in your base, your basics are not strong, your learning won't be that strong. And if you invest your time in learning, practicing, ultimately you would be seeing the results yourself. So what you have to do is, I have an assignment for you guys over here. Let me open that for you. That is basically, you have to do the configurations yourself. And okay, where is that? Let me
find that, okay, here is that. You have to do the configurations. You have to open Chrome in Selenium. There you stuck, just rewind the video and you can find the steps to do everything on your own. Then you have to repeat and write all of the methods that we have written in the class. You have to do the lowercase converter. You have to do the uppercase converter. You have to find the string length. You have to find the sum. You have to find the difference. You have to do the division. You have to do multiplication. You have to print out variables. You have to define and declare variables. So everything should be all set up. So you guys should be submitting an assignment at the email I'm providing at here, nita@techarb.com, and you can email me your what should I say, your assignment task, and I'll be checking that out and make sure that you submit that task before the next class so that you get enough time to practice the next thing. If you are stuck at the first point, I believe you are not going to perform well at the next point, right? So be precise, be vigilant from the very first class so that you don't stuck at the point. Like if you don't practice the things along the way I'm teaching you these things, you're not going to learn those things that precise way. Like if I have told you to do these things, the configurations and the rest of the things today, and you don't do this before your next session, you will be stucking up in these things, right? Because like when we would be covering up this next session, we would be doing something different. We would be like moving forward and you would be stuck over here. Your configurations wouldn't be working fine. So you would be stuck. You won't be able to write the automation scripts. Is that clear? So be vigilant from the very first class. Do everything assigned to you on time. And if you have any queries, you can simply catch up to me on this email and you can send your queries out here and you can simply inform me whatever the problem is. I will try my level best to resolve your queries. We will be having some catch-up sessions as well. The live sessions, I will try to entertain with queries in the live sessions as well. But like before, I want to keep you guys hanging on for the live sessions. You can still reach out to me on this email. I will try to respond to you guys back at my earliest. And whatever your preferences are, you have to do the assignment if you want to learn, because practice is the key in the development and automation. If you don't practice, you're not going to learn anything. And ultimately, if you're not going to learn anything, you're not going to earn anything. So keep practicing, keep learning so that you can keep earning. So you can make this thing as a motive of yourself as well. So practice a lot. This is a key. So you have to do the configurations. I'm going to repeat that. You would have to install IntelliJ for that. You would have to download JDK for that. You would have to download TestNG. You have to download Selenium for that. And then first of all, you would be creating your project structure, download your jar files and keep them in one organized folder so that you look some organized and you don't have to look for the things every time. Okay, you guys have seen that I have kept all of my jar files in one directory. I have kept my drivers. You can download the drivers from. Okay, I skipped that part. Let me show you how you can download the drivers. You can simply go to type in download Google Chrome driver, and this is the website, and this is Chrome driver.chromium.org. Go here, and if you have you have to find out whatever the version of your Chrome browser is, and for that purpose you have to download the compatible Chrome driver. I would go over here, and here in settings, I guess, yeah, here we have this about Chrome section, and here you can find the version of your Chrome, which is 106.0.5249.159. So basically it's 106. I will go here, and here I have 105, 106, and 107. I will click on 106, and a page will be open. This is for Linux, Mac, and this is for Windows. Since we are on Windows, so you can simply get that downloaded from here, and this is basically a zip file. You can extract that and keep these things in an organized folder, name that as driver, and keep your drivers in that folder. So once you have IntelliJ, once you have your drivers, once you have your jar files, once you have your every prerequisites, go for the installations. Open your IntelliJ, create a new project, keep a structure, name it something as, you can say TechR practice 1 or something, like should be explanatory at least. And then create your project inside that folder, go to your files. Like once project is created, you will see that you have like selected JDK. You have to install JDK before that, just like we did in the class. You once you create the Java project, you will be getting that sample Hello World project inside that. You can simply run that. If that is printing Hello World in the console, just like it was printing out in our case, it means that your Java thing is working fine. If it's not working fine, reach out to me and I will help you out. Once that Hello World is working fine, you can try opening Selenium in your Chrome Selenium script. And we have already done that thing very clearly, very detailed wise. So you can simply go and try to open that. If you face any issues, you can always come to me. My email is shared with you guys. We are meeting on LMS as well. So whatever suits you, you can meet to me. I will try to get back to you guys as soon as possible. And then after opening the Selenium, you have to practice a lot for these methods so that your base is strong for Java. Okay. So I believe that that's all for today, and your assignment is in front of your guys. You can take a screenshot, else it would be like shared with you guys as well. You have to do the configurations, you have to run the Selenium, you have to write up all the methods that we have written in the class. And I will be seeing you guys in the next class. Till then, keep practicing, keep learning so that you can earn a handsome amount. Okay. And I'm hoping that you guys are having a very good experience with this training, and see you guys in the next class. Till then, bye.